Wyden. You have a strong reputation for being able to work across the aisle. You've maintained that for quite a few years. And you're going into a new kind of environment where your caucus is now in the minority, and you're going to have to be working across the aisle in a different way. And I'm wondering how you anticipate working across the aisle when you have a significant number of people who think compromise is a dirty word and have said that they aren't going to compromise, and how are you going to be able to compromise without losing many of the things we've gained? And maybe you could address this by talking about health care and how we can improve, how you might think we could improve our health care bill rather than destroy them.
Well, let's talk about health care for a minute, because I'm surprised it hadn't come up. And I've always felt, going back to my Great Panther days, that health care was the most important issue, because if you and your loved ones don't have your health, pretty much everything else goes by, the boards. And there are a whole host of issues we're going to have to deal with in the healthcare area. One that I'm very concerned about for the middle class, you've probably seen some of these accounts, is we're having real problems with these deductibles, these very high deductibles, and people are in effect forsaking care, and then they wait until the problem gets more serious. So that'll be one area that I'll look at early on. The one that is my biggest concern and biggest interest, because it has gotten short shrift, is the legislation I've introduced to modernize Medicare. And if somebody talks to you about the federal budget and doesn't mention Medicare, the discussion is not on the level. Okay? Because in terms of the federal budget, Medicare is up here and everything else is sort of here. And that's because of the demographics and what I'm going to mention to you. And both political parties really have missed it, in my view. And that is that Medicare in 2015 does not resemble Medicare when it began in 1965. When Medicare began in 1965, it was like if a senior broke their ankle. And if the senior broke their ankle, and it wasn't that bad a break, you went to the doctor's office and the doctor would splint it and stuff, and off you'd go. It's called Part B of Medicare. If it was a serious break, you'd go to the hospital. And remember, back in those days, you went to a hospital and stayed more than 15 minutes. You might stay 2 days or something like that. And surgery, and that was Part A of Medicare. Folks, that is not Medicare any longer. And I'll tell you, if Medicare was about broken ankles, you would never see another political commercial in the rest of your life about Medicare. You would not have Democrats and Republicans fighting about who is best at taking care of broken ankles. You just wouldn't. Today, Medicare is about chronic disease. And we're talking about cancer, diabetes, heart disease, strokes, and if you put in Alzheimer's, that's the whole program. That's basically Medicare. And both political parties, in the discussion about the Affordable Care Act, basically missed it. And my wife considers it like, water torture or something like that. But I went back and read through most of the Affordable Care Act discussion with respect to the elderly, and nobody talked about where the money is going and what the future is. So I have put together a bipartisan bill. It's called the Better Care, Lower Cost Act. If you're having trouble sleeping tonight, you can read it at my website. It's over there. But it really focuses on coordinated care. And Washington County, even Washington County, which has a fair amount of what's called Medicare Advantage, where it's Kaiser and Providence and these kinds of plans, you still have thousands and thousands of seniors in Medicare piecework. The doc goes here, and the nurse goes here, and the PA goes there, and nobody ever coordinates, care. And so what my legislation does is it protects guaranteed benefits, but puts the incentive behind coordinating, care. So I'm going to spend a lot of time on that. And my view is, given the demographics, the huge number of people turning 65 every day. I think it's like 10,000 seniors turn 65 every day for years and years to come. That the need to protect guaranteed benefits and to find a way that is good for the wallets of seniors and taxpayers is arguably the next big challenge of our time.